in nature, the largest creature is not always the most dangerous. Sometimes, the deadliest threat is hidden just beneath the ground, almost invisible to the eye. Snakes do not hunt through chaos. Every movement is based on absolute calculation. One mistake from the prey is enough to end everything. There are no long chases and no second chances. From the layer of dry leaves on the tropical forest floor, a slow movement begins to take shape. A king cobra emerges, lifting its head slightly above the ground to read the scent trail still lingering in the air. It is not searching for chaos. Its target is another snake. Long and strong enough to force the predator to calculate every stage of the approach. As the distance closes, the king cobra's body tightens, keeping its head perfectly aligned. The strike comes with complete commitment. Seizing control in a single instant, the forest returns to silence, as if the encounter had never happened. Beneath a layer of dry leaves, a viper remains motionless, blending into the forest floor. Its rough scales help regulate body temperature, allowing it to wait for hours without wasting much energy. A mouse weighing less than 2 ounces approaches, its sense of smell occupied by the scent of leftover seeds. The distance closes to the perfect strike zone. The snake's head launches upward in less than 0.2 seconds. Its folding fangs opening and closing simultaneously before instantly retracting. The mouse runs a few more steps before its movements become increasingly uncoordinated. In the muddy waters of a South American wetland, a green anaconda nearly disappears among floating vegetation. It can remain underwater for more than 10 minutes, holding position without creating noticeable ripples. At the water's edge, a capybara weighing more than 100 pounds lowers its head, trusting that mud and reeds provide protection. The snake's tongue samples the air before its long body silently advances beneath the surface. The attack comes suddenly and at close range, followed by calculated coils tightening with each movement. Before long, the water grows calm again and the wetland returns to silence. Under the scorching heat of the Namib, a shovel-snouted lizard runs across the sand as though dancing, constantly changing direction to avoid the burning surface. Just beneath the thin layer of sand, a snake waits buried, exposing only its elevated eyes and head aimed directly at the route ahead. It does not rely on long pursuits. It waits for the exact moment of hesitation, when the lizard twists its body and slows for half a second. The strike erupts decisively, closing the gap in one explosive movement. On a cold, damp branch, a green pit viper hangs like a living leaf. nearly disappearing into the moss. It has no need to rush. The heat-sensing pits on its face transform warmth into coordinates, even when the light begins to fade. Below, a small animal moves across the forest floor, believing the canopy above offers safety. The snake coils into an S shape, its head remaining motionless like a locked sight. Then the strike launches cleanly and precisely, so fast that sound arrives after the movement. Moments later, only the faint sound of falling leaves and lingering silence remain. As darkness settles over the ground, the snake begins moving without the need for light. Its head lowers as sophisticated heat sensors transform body warmth into invisible trails. Ahead, a mouse pauses beside a bush, focused on searching for food within what it assumes is a safe zone. The snake glides forward one final distance and becomes completely still. The strike unfolds in an instant, fast enough to erase the gap before a reaction can even begin. Darkness closes around the brief movement. The ground becomes quiet again, as though nothing had ever happened. Hidden among tangled branches, the scent of a bird's nest drifts through the humid air, guiding the snake directly forward. Inside the nest, the chicks huddle together, moving so slightly they are nearly invisible, yet vulnerable enough to reveal the fragility of life. The snake stops at the edge of the nest and wraps itself around one of the young birds. But after several tense seconds, it unexpectedly turns away and leaves. The behavior is difficult to explain, as the snake's jaws can expand considerably and the prey is not too large. Perhaps the presence of the cameraman disrupted that delicate hunting moment. In wet vegetation after the rain, an oriental whipsnake keeps its slender body stretched like a green vine, moving without disturbing a single leaf. In this species, forward-facing eyes create a sense of depth, helping estimate distance during attacks among low branches. Below, a small frog leaps across the damp leaf litter and pauses for a brief instant before jumping again. The strike launches almost instantly, closing the distance in a clean and efficient moment. Then everything settles once more, leaving only moisture and silence. On the beaches of the Galapagos, racer snakes move like a living wave, never taking their eyes off the target. A young iguana has just emerged from the sand and seems only moments away from reaching nearby vegetation. But the snakes divide their positions quickly. One blocks the front while another cuts across the escape route. The attacks come in rapid succession, their bodies pressing close to the ground as they attempt to stop every burst of movement. The iguana struggles fiercely, slipping through the snakes and dragging the pursuit across the sand like a stretched wire. Eventually, it leaps onto the rocks and disappears, leaving the beach silent once again. As daylight disappears, a nocturnal snake continues to perceive the world in its own way. Heat-sensing pits allow it to see the warmth of prey as an invisible glow within the darkness. A small rodent searches for food ahead, convinced that night provides protection. The snake stays low, advancing in short movements before stopping and pointing its head directly at the heat source. As the prey turns sideways, the snake delivers a single strike, placing its fangs precisely before withdrawing immediately. The rodent stumbles, gradually losing coordination before fading into the darkness. High within the tropical forest canopy, a flying snake stretches across a branch, its flattened body pressed against the bark like part of the tree itself. Nearby, a leaping lizard races across a neighboring trunk, believing the gap between branches is a safe barrier. The snake does not pursue across the ground. Instead, it releases its grip, launches from the branch, and bends its body through the air, gliding like a living arrow. But the leaping lizard can glide as well, springing from the treetop and vanishing into the forest, a contest between two creatures capable of flight. Along a village path, still holding the warmth of the day, a cobra glides forward like a low shadow, keeping its hood folded until everything is under control. Every flick of its tongue gathers chemical information, turning the ground into a map of scent trails. A small target hides in the darkness between a brick wall and a drainage ditch. As the distance closes, the front portion of the body rises and the head remains aligned like a carefully aimed spear. The strike is swift and precise before the cobra immediately withdraws, swallowing the last trace of movement. Across the sands of the Namib, a sand snake moves just beneath the surface, leaving behind delicate ripples like traces of wind. Its entire body is designed for ambush, concentrating all available energy into a single burst of acceleration, because every missed strike is costly in the harsh desert environment. A lizard appears on the hot sand, moving lightly yet always ready to spring away. The lizard changes direction repeatedly and escapes beyond reach. Silence returns, leaving only faint tracks fading into the wind. Within a confined space, an adder snake moves slowly across the ground, its head slightly raised as it surveys the surroundings. It is in no hurry. A lizard appears ahead and freezes after sensing danger. The moment the lizard hesitates, the snake thrusts the front portion of its body upward and lunges forward decisively. The attack is clean and accurate, leaving the lizard unable to respond after only a brief moment of resistance. In the world of snakes, speed is not just an advantage, it is everything. A single blink is often enough for an entire hunt to be decided. There is no chaos and no noise, only silence following a perfectly executed strike. If you enjoy these cold, strategic hunts, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss the next moments of survival. Thank you for watching.